You can almost gauge the sentiment for gold by the crazy things that people say. You know things are looking pretty good when people start talking about selling their gold. So gold is up. It's a good start to the year, and early trading already pushed it up to 1860. Yesterday, it hit 6-month highs. Today, we're looking at 7-month highs. If we look at silver, that's an 8-month high, and that price movement has people bringing up the question of when they'd sell their metals. I know where I would sell, but before we get to the hypothetical stuff, let's take a look at what's actually happening now. Now, if you go off the analyst explanation, the current price run is from European equities on the rise, sell-off of U.S. treasuries. But the price run for gold, it actually started before either of those things happened. Gold was actually on a run, even on yesterday's dollar index rally. So this looks a lot more like existing sentiment that's having a little bit more fuel added today. And also, the price run just hasn't been stomped down lately by comments from the Fed. And speaking of those kinds of comments, we're going to see minutes from the Federal Reserve later today, and then we'll get job data on Friday. And if I can be cynical just for a minute, my guess is that the Fed comments will have something in them about doing whatever they need to do with rates, and that will turn around sentiment for the US dollar again. And that's exactly the kind of thing that typically kills off or at least delays a gold run. It's not the Fed trying to prevent a price spike in metals in the first place. It's the Fed trying to maintain that hawkish stance. They put out a "we got this" message, and that props up the dollar and US treasuries, and then that stomps on gold. So even if the price of gold drops back down, this is one more example of what happens to the price of gold if the strength of the US dollar starts to fall. And the idea that we will see a full dovish pivot by central banks this year, it really could have major implications on prices. And I should probably say there that analysts think that it will have major implications. And that makes sense to me. So if you put all of that together, what we've seen so far this year, along with the fact that the futures are up, those analyst calls for $2,100 gold and higher in 2023, well, they start to make a lot of sense. And if we ignore those analysts for a minute, we look to someone like Robert Kiyosaki for a minute, because people seem to be doing that, we'll see a call for $3,600 gold this year. And I haven't been taking Robert Kiyosaki seriously since, I don't know, early 2000s, but that makes an interesting range to look at for 2023. Professional analyst calls for 2100 and up, and an author who was popular 20 years ago calling for 3600. At $3,600, I wonder how many people would consider selling their physical holdings. Anyone with derivatives, they'd probably take the profits. That's just hitting a sell button. But most people with physical gold, they have more reasons for holding than profit. But you have to wonder if that stands up against 100% gain in a year. $3,600 for me, I would probably sell half of what I have and not have any sad feelings about it. To me, it's just a matter of whether I think the price would then fall to allow me to come back in, because I'm not just going to be done with gold in 2023. Again, I don't see Kiyosaki's call for gold to double in price inside of a year as realistic. I think the 10 to 20% gains are more probable, more likely. And in a case like that, selling to take a profit would mean that I would have to think that I could then get back into gold at a lower price. Otherwise, it's not really taking profit. You're just kind of cashing out some gold in a window of time. And 10%, it doesn't even leave much on the table after you consider premiums. 20%, I don't know, maybe. Now, this isn't a recommendation to be watching for a profitable selling window for your gold. I still don't think a physical gold is something that you trade, but the question comes up a lot. It's not me bringing it up, but it usually comes up related to some of those wilder price predictions. Someone like Kiyosaki is out there saying $3,600, and people start to wonder what they could do with that kind of profit. It sounds fun, 100% gains inside 12 months, but again, I'd see that as a spike that probably wouldn't continue. Even though I don't think that it would, I would still probably only sell standard bullion coins at that point. I wouldn't want to cut into hard to find series coins unless there was some reason to know that was the top, and there just isn't. It's a strange idea because I'd probably sell most of the Eagles and Buffaloes that I have, anything that I couldn't easily replace, well, it would go, and then I'd just start back in on them when the price came down. That's assuming the price came back down. If it didn't, I guess I'd be coming back in pretty slowly because I'd be paying a lot more than what I'm used to. This is really one of those cart ahead of the horse topics. We're only 2 days into heavy trading, and we haven't even heard from the Fed inside of that window. But there really are a lot of signals that seem to point to higher gold prices this year. Unfortunately, though, a lot of that has to do with other things not doing well. Now, none of my predictions are made seriously, of course. Don't listen to me, you'll lose all your money. But the year ahead looks a lot different to me than it did 12 months ago. At the end of 2021, I said I expected gold to end the year about where it started. I assumed we'd actually be down 1%. We ended up 1%. Now, this coming year, though, I won't even make a prediction because it just all depends on what the Fed does. If I had to just say up or down, I'm definitely expecting the price to go up. Now, how far though? That's another question. I doubt it'll go up enough to get me to a place where I'd want to sell gold this year, but who knows? I mean, other than Robert Kiyosaki. So some of you out there might know as well. Let us know what you think. Where do you see gold going? And then let us know, is there a number that would get you to sell? I think it's an interesting question. While you're there, be sure to hit the like button if you found any of this interesting. Be sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on if you want to see more on the topic. And if you're still here, thanks again for watching. I always appreciate your time. Take care.